Welcome to the pod you're listening to. What the Reality with me, Cashay Roberts, and this is your end of the year episode. I cannot be more proud for how far the podcast has come since I started literally April 4th, 2025. And this is the one thing I made a promise to myself to really just do. I have a lot of ideas. I'm a passionate person. I'm a Leo. I have a lot of ideas, and not that they never come to fruition, but sometimes I have too many ideas, and I've always had a knack for just like hosting and talking about entertainment and literally talking shit. And I was like, I literally want to do a podcast. There are so many podcasts that I've listened to that really was just like, why shouldn't I be doing a podcast? Like, I was a podcast girly before. I can't tell you the last time I've listened to someone else's podcast though, because besides Carlos King, which I kind of view his as like a show, it's like once you become a podcaster, you become so ultra aware of the content you're putting out there that you don't mistakenly or subconsciously want to take anyone else's content. So you don't want to sound like other people. So you really stop listening. It really depends. Like I still listen to Call Her Daddy, but I haven't listened. I started listening to hers once I was podcasting. I wasn't listening to hers beforehand. I mean, people that are in the same realm as me. You know, I used to be the biggest and I'm still the biggest. So bad it's good with Ryan Bailey. I used to listen to Behind the Velvet Rope. You know, I used to listen to Bravo While Black. I still listen to I Cannot with Kendrick Tucker and, you know, She's Speaking with Emily Hanks. Like, but there's just so many people like before me that I used to listen to. And I was just like, why am I not podcasting? These people, like, they really just like paved the way for little old me. And I could not be more grateful as we close out this year for all of my listeners, you know, that have stuck through me. I'm hoping even next year is bigger when I come up on my 1 year anniversary in April. I'm hoping it really becomes bigger. I did recently get a milestone for my podcast, but I'm just hoping the pod grows so I can leave all the other jobs I have and do this full time, which I don't know, it's like seems far fetched, but people do it. Like, if there's one thing I would love to do is to have the podcast, you know, hopefully become, you know, a part of a network next year. I have so many goals for the pod, but thank you guys so much for listening. This is the last episode of the year. We will be back to regular programming next Tuesday. Next Tuesday with a Toxic Tuesday, and we will be back with regular programming with What's the Realities on What the Reality, because I know we kind of left off on a cliffhanger with the Jersey Shore, and I was like, oh, I'll put it out for Christmas. I didn't do that. And then I was like, oh, I'll put it out for New Year's. I'm not doing that because I'm just like, let me just salivate in it. So it's like the next full week of the new year will come banging. Toxic Tuesday. What's the reality on What the Reality? Next Friday. And yes, the same will still be true to catch me every Toxic Tuesday and catch me some Fridays. But yes, I'm so proud of everything that has came with the pod. And I really think like catch me on TikTok too, because I feel like the TikTok videos have been blowing up. And that's where you can really see a lot of my controversial opinions. I feel like the TikTok audience still has not found the podcast where I really do dive deep versus like seeing like 2 minutes, 3 minutes of the stuff I'm talking about versus the pod when I really talk about it. So I'm really hoping to merge the audiences. I always say like, oh, I'll get back on Instagram, but I just don't know if that's the truth because if I'm being honest, like Instagram just really doesn't push out your content. If anything, yes, I'll be back on YouTube shorts. I just don't know about Instagram. I think it's important to have a brand across everything, which I need to get better at, but if it's not broke, don't fix it. And I feel like TikTok is really where the revenue and where my opinion can really be seen by the masses, which I'm also so grateful for. But as you can tell, this is not a Toxic Tuesday episode. This is what are we calling it? We're calling it the best of Toxic Tuesdays. We're calling it the best of 2025. I have gathered a list. It was supposed to start at the top 10 in like 3 different categories. So unfortunately, it has not. The first category has spilled over from 10 moments because I wanted to do the top 10 moments of pop culture headlines in 2025, things we talked about on the pod, things we deep dived into. And this is going to be in chronological order at least. So this was supposed to be the top 10, but it's not. It's turned into the top top 16 moments. It was supposed to be 15, and then we added something on because it would only be injustice if I mentioned every single one of these, and there's still stuff I wanted to do. I could have went to top 20, but I think this sums up the year of 2025 of everything I talked about. I went back in all of my notes for all my podcast outlines, and I did it that way. I think this will sum up perfectly what I thought of the year. And then I have two categories that are ranked. So we have 10 of the most valuable players that were reality stars, most valuable reality stars, ranked top 10. Doesn't matter the reality show. It is reality TV though, because that's what's the reality. And then we have the top 10 least valuable reality stars, in my opinion, of this year. And that ranking, it will be 1 through 10. So 10, you would honestly want to be 10 on the least valuable, because that means you were kind of close to being on MVP list or just not being mentioned at all. Or if you were towards the bottom of the list for the least valuable, you aren't as valuable as I perceive you to be. Now, you don't want those top 1 through 5 spots, because that means I really feel like you had no use on the show, versus the MVP reality stars. Any spot on that list is good, but obviously if you're number 10, it's kind of like you just snuck in there last minute, and I was just like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna add you actually because you did do this. But it's like you want to be the top 5 for most MVP, you know what I mean? And then it's like you want to be the bottom 5 actually for LVP, for the least valuable players, because then it's like, okay, you actually brought something, it's just I probably don't like you, or I didn't like how you went out or something. And then I had a list, I concocted a list for 10 of the best shows. Did Potomac come on last night? I just got a notification from Peacock about a new episode. I thought it didn't come on last night because of the holiday. That's weird. And then for top 10 of the best shows, movies I've watched in 2025, and honestly, this does me no justice because it was difficult for me to remember everything I watched. And I'm right now in this phase right now on Netflix, at least, where I'm watching a lot of stuff that's been out, but they're finally putting it on Netflix. I just watched House of Gucci. That movie was amazing, very interesting. And I'm going to watch Elvis before that goes off of Netflix, December 31st. OMG, I'm going to add 11 because I just thought of something that I have to mention that I was obsessed with. But so that'll be 11 of the best shows, movies. And then, yeah, what else did I watch on Netflix? I just watched Hitman again, which was really good. I am obsessed with the movie This Is 40, but these aren't 2025 making, so they didn't make the list. But I'm just saying it's hard for me. Honestly, the list I made is probably a good list of everything that was made in 2025. Other shows probably 2024, 2023. And then, yeah, there's 2 reality shows on there, which are kind of honorable mentions, but I really think they had a really good reality season. So you know what? A good reality show season. So you know what? It's going to be actually the top 12 since I am adding reality shows. But yes, it's going to be the top 12 of the best shows and movies of 2025 for me, in my opinion. And then we're going to do, like I said, the top 10 MVP, the top 10 LVPs. And then, of course, we're going to do a chronological order of the best pop culture moments / headlines that have happened all 2025. Starting off, without further ado, was obviously the Target boycott. That happened in January 2025 to kick off the year. And it kind of set the tone of what the year was. Obviously, Trump was inaugurated in January. He won the election, air quotes, or whatever, which I'm seeing now possibly there's an investigation being done with Elon Musk because they're how did you predict that he won 4 hours before it was called? We all had our weird suspicion with that, but obviously he's made it pretty known that he wants to roll back a lot of stuff. He just took away MLK Day, and something that was huge on his agenda was DEI, and that huge rollback that he was claiming DEI was responsible for these airplane crashes, all of this stuff that was going on in the world. And he was just saying how basically you are a diversity, equity, inclusion hire or whatever. So with that huge statement, a lot of corporations backed him, and Target was first on my list for this whole recall because it was just such a big thing. I think people, including myself, we were just so shocked when Target announced that they were rolling back DEI, because Target before had been so outspoken about the George Floyd shootings that happened very close to their headquarters, I believe. And they have also been very supportive of the LGBTQ community. So for them to roll back DEI, they saw a huge loss in revenue, a lot of foot traffic. People were not shopping at Target anymore. I haven't shopped at Target since February. I was following Pastor Jamal Bryan's whole boycott when he was like, we got to hit him where it hurts, the big corporations, and Target was first on the list, like I said, because they had been so outspoken about George Floyd and LGBTQ rights, and they were one of the biggest corporations supporting these, like, Black History Month, Pride Month, all of this stuff. So it was crazy to watch them roll it back. So like I said, I hadn't been at Target. I still haven't been at Target since his day. Don't know when I'll be back at Target. Obviously, it saved me some money. At first, it was difficult because I get some things from there, but now it's kind of become like a memory. And Target still has not really recovered. If you really want to talk about it, they really have not recovered. I am wondering what their Christmas sales were. Obviously, I do live by a Target. If you don't live by a Target, you live in the middle of nowhere. But obviously, the Target I drove by on Christmas Eve was packed. But if I'm being honest, I've seen it more packed. Also, I just think shopping this year was a lot different for people. Obviously, like online is like higher than ever, but the tariffs, things are just more expensive. The cost of living is so expensive right now. So I wouldn't be shocked in general. I was not impressed with Black Friday sales, Cyber Monday sales. Everything was just, honestly, in my opinion, tanking. So yeah, I just wasn't really shocked when I drove by Target and I saw it was packed, but I was like, you know what? I've actually seen it more packed, especially on Christmas Eve. So that is the first headline. The second headline that definitely made noise on Twitter all around the world, and even at some categories that would be shifted soon after, is Beyonce finally winning Album of the Year after she missed out on it 4 times, I believe. Like Lemonade didn't get it, Beyonce didn't get it, self-titled, Renaissance didn't get it, and something else I think did not get it. But ever since Lemonade was skipped over, a lot of people just thought that she was kind of being like blacklisted, even though like her stuff was being nominated for so much more. She was winning so many other Grammys, but she could not win Album of the Year. So she finally won it. It was for Cowboy Carter, which honestly shifted the world this year. We saw such an uptick in country music, country artists, country fashion. And we still are seeing this till today. Miss Lisa Barlow was wearing a cowboy hat in her confessional. Angel Massey from Potomac has a Western theme outfit. The ladies are throwing Western theme events on their shows. Cowboy Carter has impacted. It was a culture phenomenon. So the fact that she finally won Album of the Year was a huge thing. It was unexpected. It gifted that famous meme when she's like looking around. And yeah, and then obviously Cowboy Carter kicked off this summer. I did go to that. And it was phenomenal. It was a cultural shift for sure. And now we're gearing up for Act 3. But yes, that happened in February 2025. Next, we're moving on to another event that happened in February 2025. We're getting into the Housewives universe a little bit. So this was a crazy event that happened. Karen Huger from Real Housewives of Potomac was sentenced to a year behind bars for, this is her 4th DUI, driving under the influence. And it was like weird how they sentenced her. It was like a year behind bars and then a year suspended. So I don't know if they were trying to see like how her behavior was. Nonetheless, Karen Huger was released September 2025. She was released in time to film a quick segment, a quick clip with Real Housewives of Potomac, I'm assuming for the season finale. But that was very big news. People were shocked, and she went to prison immediately. She clearly did not serve the full year. She got out on good behavior in September, and she was at BravoCon, which was in November. Next up on the list for the best pop culture headlines that you may have forgotten, we cannot forget our good sis over there in Vogue. Anna Wintour resigned and officially stepped down as editor-in-chief. What I don't have on there is how long she was editor-in-chief, and it's going to drive me insane if I don't look it up, but she finally stepped down. Let me see how long she was editor-in-chief. Anna Wintour, editor-in-chief, stepping down after how many years? Because I want to say it's like been like 30 plus years, 37 years. I know my stuff, y'all. I was going to say 34. It was 37 years she stepped down after 37 years. And we did get a new editor-in-chief announcement in September 2025. It's Chloe O'Malley. She was announced as the successor, and she's 40 years old. So yes, that was a big event that happened. We're just like, what direction is Vogue going in? And yeah, we're just shocked. But what I will say, Anna Wintour is still on the board for the Met Gala. So I'm wondering if this is just like her trying to launch into her early retirement and like just do less stuff that she doesn't need to, because I feel like the Met Gala still takes up like a good amount of your time, especially when it's announced. But that's like a whole year project. It's like you're kind of Santa. It's like you get ready for this event a year before the next. I think I will never forget the Black Dandyism. That was like probably like one of the best ones. I can't remember what 2026's will be, but it was just recently announced, and I'm sure she's been getting ready for that. They have to select it, all this stuff. So I don't think Anna Wintour is slowing down, but her stepping down as Vogue editor-in-chief was definitely a huge announcement. This is an honorable mention. Just Anne Hathaway's multiple projects that she had been working on, when we're going to get The Princess Diaries 3, and then we're also getting The Devil Wears Prada with Meryl Streep, the second one, which is coming out next year. So those are like kind of like hand in hand, because I think they were announced around the same time. I was like, dang, Anne Hathaway is booked and busy. Another pop culture headline that we cannot forget about in 2025, Todd and Julie Chrisley were pardoned by the President Trump. And that happened in May 2025. So, oops, I accidentally got those mixed up. That should have been mentioned before Anna Wintour. But yes, Todd and Julie Chrisley were pardoned by Trump after serving 2 years in prison after being found guilty of fraud and tax evasion. Much of their pardon, I say, was due to Savannah Chrisley's proactive work. She had constantly be on the line, with the politics, the politicians trying to get her parents out of there. So Todd was supposed to serve 12 years and Julie was supposed to serve 7 years. That is something on my list of deep dives to do. It'll just take a lot more time. I'm hoping that they'll have a documentary out anytime soon, maybe, because I definitely want to do a deep dive on that. And that would definitely be a two-parter, because how do you mess it up? They did an interview, or Todd did an interview with Kandi Burruss from Real Housewives of Atlanta, and basically like kind of broke down, and I was understanding it a little bit, but I also felt like I was getting conned while he was saying the story. Like, he just didn't match. Like, I don't understand how you would have your friends, a good close friend, in charge of your finances and not like a true accountant. Like, especially once you start making money that you don't even know where this money's coming from, like you just got money that big, you have to have like several accountants. And it just sounded like a really sus story to me. Like, he's like, we had a trusted friend that would handle our finances, and he basically was stealing from us, and we didn't know about it until it was too late. And then they were telling us we had to go to trial, all this stuff. They never pled guilty. They always maintained their innocence, and they still maintain their innocence to this day. That's why I always say their sentence was so much heavier than Jen Shah's, because Jen Shah was only sentenced to 6.5 years. They were sentenced to 12 years and 7 years, which was 12 years in general. Just to me, is like, that's like a lot of time. But yeah, they have been out, and I know they have their new show on USA Network still, maybe, but I don't know who watches it, because I just don't know. Can you watch it on Peacock? I don't know who's watching that new show. It was supposed to show them getting out, and, like, you know, it's supposed to be like a spinoff of Chrisley Knows Best, but I don't know what's going on with that. Staying in the reality TV world, I think this was a huge pop culture headline. People were talking about it. You know, she was getting her Ariana Madix edit for a brief time, not nearly as long as Ariana Madix did, but Paige DeSorbo announcing her exit from Summer House after how much time was it? I think she had been on for like 6-7 seasons. And, you know, Paige DeSorbo just had a really tough year. I think Craig and her had broken up literally in December of 2024. So obviously that didn't make my top headlines, because they were not broken up when I just realized I don't even think my background is blurred out. They were not broken up when I technically started my, podcast, but they were broken up when she was supposed to be signing on for another season, but she cited her reasoning for, not signing on. She physically could not film. I think their breakup became really messy. I did a deep dive on the breakup. Make sure you tune into that. The breakup became insanely messy. They despise each other now. And I'll tell you what, Craig is still on Bravo. Paige is not. Not in a negative way. I'm just saying Paige has seemed to move on to bigger, better things. She has her pajama line, Daphne's Pajamas, which is named after her cat. Unfortunately, the pajamas are too expensive for my liking. But she seems to be doing well, and he seems to still be salivating in this breakup. That is his whole identity. It seems like he's going to be on reality TV for the rest of his life. I always say, when you don't know as a reality TV star when to walk away, you kind of become like the joke in the room. And there's a couple of people on that Southern Charm cast that could use to walk away. And I said the same thing about Summer House, Kyle and Amanda, even Lindsay. I love Lindsay, but I was like, at what point do you walk away from reality TV? Like, at what point have you overstayed your welcome? Like, it's getting a little old now, if that's genuinely what I think. But yes, her announcement really shocked a lot of people. But it wasn't shocking, because she said she was just exhausted of filming, and I don't think she just wanted to be in the Bravoverse anymore. Her and Hannah Gailey Squad was doing amazing. I personally, since Paige has left, there's no shade, no tea, I haven't heard much about her, and maybe this is the life she wants to live. I did hear she was in a cameo for Devil Wears Prada, but she's been laying really low. Obviously, the Amazon Live stuff doesn't stop, but maybe I'm just not on Paige DeSorbo timeline, so maybe I'm just really not seeing it. But before, when all this was happening, I feel like I was always getting updates of what she's doing in her career, and I was like, period. But like, I'm just saying, like, now, like, I don't know what she's doing, so I hope the money hasn't really stopped, and I hope she doesn't consider ever coming back to Summer House, because it seems like they're transitioning a whole new direction with a whole new set of people, honestly. But yes, you can't really say you didn't see it coming. Obviously, we have to talk about the biggest culture phenomenon that captivated our screens this summer, caused all of our brains to rot, caused so many people to receive death threats, hate threats, and it just turned very ugly. It was Love Island season 7, which honestly stole the ratings and everything of season 6. Like, we thought season 6 was a knock it out of the park. Season 7, it was just like the egos that we got from that, the people, the fans were disgusting. Obviously it captivated our screens all summer long, but I honestly argue it was one of the most toxic reality shows that was out. This in general, I don't know if you guys can hear the wind. It was one of the most toxic reality seasons I've ever watched. Honestly, ever. I've never seen fan bases that insane before. Even last season, Love Island fan base was not that insane. It was very unfortunate that something so light and so humble in the beginning has now turned into this. I feel bad for people that are going to be on season 8. It's crazy. I used to say I wanted to be on Love Island, like, for the longest. I would never want to be on there. The fans are bad. Like, they're literally crazy. I wouldn't wish that. I wouldn't wish that on my worst nightmare at all. Moving on to number 8 on pop culture headlines and, just captivating pop culture moments. We have Janae and Kenny. This happened obviously in July. Obviously, Beyond the Villa was filming during this. I think this shocked a lot of people because Janae and Kenny, Janae's like the people's princess. She's part of PPG. We were all placing bets on who was going to break up first. To be honest, if you didn't watch Beyond the Villa, you probably didn't know. But I feel like we didn't see nearly as much as Leah and Miguel on their season of Love Island as we did during Beyond the Villa. I didn't realize how obsessed they were with each other. If anything, I had this connotation of what I thought Janae and Kenny were going to be like. And we saw a lot of, holes and stuff in their relationship. It was honestly very shocking to see. It just seemed like they were not on the same page. And clearly we know they were not on the same page because Kenny was trying to scam our girl the whole entire time. He was not interested in really being in a genuine, true relationship with her. He was just using her to get the money. And there was a David Dorbeck, what's his name, guys? I don't even know what his name is. There was a party, and they were literally posting right before it. Something happened at the party. I think he got a text. She saw the text, it looked sus, and she clicked on the thread, and is a thread with all of him and his friends talking mad crap about her skin tone, and just him, how he does not like Black women, and he thought he was going to be getting paid more for being in a relationship with her. It's honestly psychotic. The way that, Janae just celebrated her 29th birthday in Turks and Caicos, courtesy of Tarte. And the way she's really risen above it all, Michelle Obama way, is honestly shocking to me. Obviously, I'm sure she went into hiding and was sick to her stomach. I can't imagine being with someone and they're saying that negative stuff about you, that disgusting. That negative is crazy. Literally crazy. Number 9 on our top 16 moments in pop culture of 2025. The best headlines. This is not something I personally think is a best headline, but it is something that obviously caused a lot of social media buzz, and that's of course Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce getting engaged. That happened in August 2025. Their IG announcement was just as cringy as Taylor Swift's new bangs or whatever she got going on. I don't like bangs. It's very rare I see bangs done well, and I think I only like bangs if it's a curtain bang. But her bangs is not doing it for me, and I'll never forget their IG announcement when it's your favorite art teacher and gym teacher or music teacher and gym teacher are engaged. It was so weird. Honestly, I need to do a deep dive on Travis Kelce because his whole personality and appearance shift from being with Kayla Nicole to being with Taylor Swift, and a lot of his exes have all been Black. I don't think he's ever dated a white woman, no shade, no tea, but all of his exes are Black women. He enjoys the Black women. To now seeing how he behaves now, it's just you've literally lost the popular vote. I know that was just disgusting to watch him transform. At least be yourself, keep it a bug. Him doing a whole 180, acting like he's this other guy, and it's which guy were you? Were you fronting before, or are you fronting now, as some people would say? Number 10 on the list, we have 6 more best headlines, would be E! News getting canceled after 34 years. E! News is something I had watched literally growing up. I would record Daily Pop on Fridays, when I was in college back home from COVID. And yeah, I cannot believe E! News till this day has been canceled. I knew there was some reworkings at NBC Universal. At one moment, there would be job postings, for E! Entertainment, or, just they kept changing the show. It was rotating different hosts. I know Justin Sylvester was doing it for a while, and then we had Adrian Bailon come on with him. And it was just very weird. It kept changing the time. It became later, and then because E! News used to be a good, when you get off of work, used to be 6 to 8, 7 to 8, and they kept pushing it back, and then it became super late, 11 to 12. And who's filming that? Are they pre-recording? It just became a mess over there at NBC Universal. Obviously, we know there was like massive layoffs, but E! News probably out of all the headlines this year is the most shocking to me. I just figured they'd get it together. They never got it together. It was just really sad, y'all, because E! News has been on for 34 years. And for that to cancel, it's like, where's the fun, entertainment, trashy news? Where are we getting that now? I don't know. Number 11 on best headlines would be the Jimmy Kimmel of it all. I remember when that happened in September. Jimmy Kimmel Live was canceled after he had made some comments about Charlie Kirk and his death, alluding that it was actually like the right side that had something to do with it, and it's like his sacrifice or whatever. He didn't say that, I'm paraphrasing. But yeah, ABC pulled him because they are a bunch of wimps and they were trying to stand with Trump. Saw a lot of censorship, viewer censorship, content censorship this year. I should have added the whole TikTok shutdown, but obviously TikTok ain't shut down, so why would that be on here? It was shut down for a day. It was like crazy. We all lost our minds. Can't believe that happened. Then we all ran to Red Note, and then we left Red Note as soon as TikTok was up the next 24 hours. It was insane to lose TikTok. I will never forget that, and I don't want that ever to happen again. Good thing it's never on the table. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of censorship happening under Trump's presidency. What else is new? Just like we're seeing risen gas prices and the eggs, all this stuff. Like, it's a terrible administration. Okay, what's next? We have the Diddy trial revelations. So obviously he had been in jail all year. He had been in jail since he was arrested. I think last year he was arrested sometime. The documentary did just come out, which is still top 10 on Netflix, which is crazy. It's been top 10 for like the past, I want to say, like month. It's been top 10 and top 5 at that. Top 3, I want to say. I think it's top 3 still. So he had been in jail, but we got the biggest like trial revelations. Cassie took oath. All this stuff was revealed, and he was found guilty, but not found guilty of the stuff we would have thought he was. He was only found guilty of 2 accounts or 2 charges of committing prostitution, basically, transporting individuals across state lines to engage in sexual activity. So he wasn't even charged for the stuff he did with Cassie and all these people, and like even the stuff he did to Kid Cudi, like just being this insane man. He was acquitted for racketeering, which that alone, I don't see how they had a strong case on it. And I will maintain this, that I just think they should have focused on one thing. So I mean, yes, good, he's been tried or given some time for something. I mean, 50 months. He was sentenced to 50 months on October 3rd, 2025. And I'm pretty sure that's including the time he's already served, which has already been like a little over a year. So that's already shaved down. And of course, good behavior, because I don't know what Ebony K. Williams is talking about, but you do get off on good behavior. We've seen that with Karen Huger, and we've seen that with Jen Shah. Like, clearly you get off for good behavior. So I'm assuming Diddy will be out on good behavior. I would not be shocked if he is out next year. But the biggest revelation is the fact that all this Cassie stuff, he was acquitted on. The only stuff he was tried or, convicted of was the engagement of prostitution. So that's that. The biggest headline, I think, also for me, besides the E! News is just nostalgic. It's just like, oh my gosh, like what? This shook me because I was not expecting it, and it was Dr. Wendy Osefo and Eddie Osefo's literal, what is it called? That they're what is it? They're booking pictures. When that was just released one night, I think it was just released one morning from TMZ. I think it was a Friday. I'll never forget where I was, and I was just like, this cannot be. First of all, they looked high AF. It looks like they were literally stolen throughout the night, and booked on criminal charges, on federal charges for, what was it? I think it was fraud accusations, lying on a burglary that never happened from April 2024. It was a lot. And now I've been updating the pod with that, with the most recent stuff. It looks like they're going to trial in April. In December, recently, it was just found out that they had like 67 credit cards / debit cards that were going under different aliases. She was Pam Oliver and he was Eddie Hennessy. apparently it's been also shown that they or discovered that they have very little money, which I can agree. When you add up like all this stuff and their expenses, I do think they have very little money. Yeah, so they're in the thick of it right now. And at first they were trying to be tried separately, but now I think they're going to do it together. And yeah, their fate is really up in the air. I think she will be at the reunion, which I'm assuming will be, filmed very soon. I think in January sometime, and it'll probably air sometime in February. If not, yeah, it'll probably be in February that it'll air. So I don't know. Next up, we have the Kandi and Todd divorce. Honorable mention is obviously Mia Thornton's arrest, but I don't think that's as shocking. It didn't shock as many people because, girl, you stealing some furniture. We talking about some frauds over here, some fraudsters. And then we're talking about the DUI of it all when it comes to Karen Huger. So I know she's mad that we're really not talking about her no more. I don't even know what's going on with that. But the next one also was a shocker. It was Kandi and Todd. It wasn't a shocker, though, to me because, like I said, I had seen a couple of blind items about a certain couple. And I suspected it was them, especially when Todd was not at BravoCon, though she did thank him in her Lifetime Achievement Award speech. I think it was weird that he wasn't there, given the fact that he was employed by NBC Universal long before him and Kandi got together. I don't know what's going on with them. They just celebrated Christmas together. We do know they're separating, divorcing. She said he was talking to other women behind her back that she was not aware of, which tells me he has been talking to women throughout their whole relationship, and she has known about it, and these women were probably in the bedroom with them. But I guess she caught wind of some women that she was not privy to, and she said this divorce was a long time coming. I hope it's not ugly. Recently, Todd was just trying to claim that he signed the prenup under distress, but she had to use footage from the whole Kandi Todd of it all to say, no, your lawyer was privy. You were not coerced into doing this. So I don't know. They just spent Christmas together and they seem to be on good terms, but obviously Christmas is like one of those holidays you open up the presents with the kids. So that's why I'm assuming they spent it together. I don't know if she can still stand him, but from my findings, he has still been showing her love and support, in the comment section of all the amazing stuff she is doing. I also don't know if it was a rumor, but I think her Candy Coated Nights is supposed to be hitting Netflix, which wouldn't be shocking because Netflix did just invest in a huge podcast deal with iHeartMedia. So I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that was just a rumor, yada, 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 whatever. Let's get to our last two headlines before I get into my MVPs and LVPs. Jen Shaw release, huge because her date, I think this is so huge because her date kept getting pushed back. And that's why I will say in terms of Ebony K. Williams, because I'll never forget she did an interview with Carlos King, and there's no shade or tea, but I'm just saying, she said there's no such thing as getting out on good behavior. And all the articles you read for these people are people getting out on good behavior. Karen Huger got out before she was due, good behavior. Jen Shaw before she was due, good behavior. So my question is, if that's not good behavior, I'm just confused why she would say it's not a thing in law as such as good behavior when these women are getting out on good behavior. And we'll see if Dr. Wendy and Eddie go, are they going to get out on good behavior? I don't know. But yeah, Jen Shaw was released in December 2025. And she was released after spending 33 months in jail. Obviously, she pled guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud, bank fraud, in 2022, targeting mostly the elderly. And like I said, she was expected to serve 6.5 years. So she was sentenced in 2022. She wasn't supposed to be coming out until, quick math, 2028, depending on when she went on 2022, 2028, 2029. So the fact that she's out in 2025, I mean, a win's a win. But she will not be on Salt Lake City, which I honestly think is a missed opportunity. Like, I think Andy got to put his pride aside. Like, he doesn't know how to put his pride aside because you would have let go Roni a long time ago or brought back the OGs. But I just feel like he don't know how to let his pride go, because I know you got beef with Jen Shaw, but you cannot tell me that episode of her coming back to meet with Heather about the black eye would not break Peacock's streaming device, Bravo cable. Like, it would break some serious numbers if Jen Shah was able to come back to film a scene, at least a trip, at least. Like, I just feel like you're doing us a disservice. We saw this story kind of be put on pause. We're like, all right, we'll see you. The show has went on and the show has been amazing, but we do kind of want to end to that chapter. Like, girl, last time we saw you, you were going to jail and you had punched Heather in the eye. Like, I definitely need to see the rest of that play out. Next up, this is, so it's really like the top 15 moments. So Jen Shah would have ended us, but I really just wanted to give a shout out to like Black love, because this year we saw a lot of Black women get engaged. I'm here for it. We saw Normani and DK Metcalf. They got engaged in March, or they posted about their engagement in March. I don't know when they got engaged. Coco Jones and Donovan Mitchell. So there's a lot of athletes like on period, and none of these women have kids with these men, like period. They do it the right way, or I mean, one way you would hope. Coco Jones and Donovan Mitchell got engaged in July. Ryan Destiny and Keith Powers. This is the one for me that I was like, it is about time. They got engaged in October. And then recently, very recent, like this past weekend, Jordan Woods and Karl Anthony Towns Jr., aka Kat, got engaged. And her ring is beautiful. It's like rectangle cut, but that ring was gorgeous. But yeah, it was the year of Black love. I would say a good half of those couples were set up by Sierra and Russell in their dating services. So if you make a certain amount of money and if you were Black and you want to be loved, hit up Sierra and Russell, because they have an athlete in mind for you, or a nice woman. But that was the top 15, 16 best pop culture headlines of 2025. This best headlines of 2025. I want to move to my MVPs with little to no explanation. So number one on my MVP list is Miss Jackie Christie, Mrs. Jackie Christie. She's still married, unlike most of her co-workers on the show. Jackie Christie delivered us one of the most iconic moments. I actually am shocked we haven't heard anything about Basketball Wives. I don't know if it's in production, but she gave us one of the most iconic moments of, hitting the mess out of her daughter, Chantel. We don't promote violence. However, the way Chantel was behaving on Basketball Wives to her mom was so unacceptable. And Jackie Christie is a Leo and put her money where her mouth is. She was constantly being provoked by her daughter. And her daughter just needs therapy. Like, she just kept trying to provoke the situation. This meme GIF video has reached groundbreaking numbers. And Basketball Wives, honestly, this season was really good due to Jackie Christie. I know she hates that because she did not want to exploit her relationship with her daughter. But ever since her daughter came on, it just seemed like she had a bone to pick with her mom. It was very weird. Second up on my MVPs is Nicolandria. I had to combine them because it was a cultural shift with both of them together. Like I said, you want to be top 5. You want to be top 10 in general for MVP, because it means like you stood out in your season, whatever show you're on. Doesn't mean I like you. However, I love Nicolandria. I'm just saying that as we get down the list, because I don't like someone on here, but you can't deny her force that she had. Nicolandria are still booked and busy. They just did a cover with Glamour for the holidays. They're still booked and busy. Alandria has been one of the most, if not successful, individuals that have come out of Love Island. And I mean her individually, not with Nick. Love them. Third up on my list is actually, and I go back and forth, so I'm actually going to switch my third with my fourth as I'm reading this. It's going to be Stacey Rush with Potomac. If you're not watching this season, Potomac, if you didn't watch last season, Stacey is constantly on the girls' brains. They are obsessed with her. They cannot keep her name out their mouth. And you know what? I like Stacey, but I recognize Stacey is a liar. However, she's number 3. Therefore, I will say my number 4 when I look at Atlanta in total for people that was doing it. Angela Oakley, she was really like, a hidden secret. Like, we didn't really hear much buzz around Angela Oakley besides she was married to Charles Oakley. We didn't really hear much buzz of what she was doing out of the newbies. We knew out of the newbies, Britt was doing some stuff. We knew that Shamia was doing some stuff. Even Kelly started off the season doing some stuff. Man, how she failed me. But Angela was really quiet. We didn't hear much about her doing anything, really. I didn't think she would be anything. She was a lot, known for her infamous fan. I really grew to like Angela Oakley, and I think she was a really good first time housewife. Honorable mention, Bronwyn. The only reason I'm not saying Bronwyn currently is because Salt Lake City is currently airing, and I need to get a full thing, but she would be, if anything, on the MVP list. I'm going to give her an honorable mention out of when I think about newbies and like sophomores. Number 5 is Huda Mustafa. I made a video on TikTok that got over 1 million views. That alone should tell you how much impact this woman has. I have not seen or heard from this woman since her scandal in October about laughing at the N-word, someone calling Alandria the N-word. That woman has been blacklisted as fast as she rose to fame. I don't know how. Her fan base is insane, but you cannot deny Huda's impact on the show. She was crazy. And, you know, you kind of feel bad for her. I don't know what she got going on now, but that girl is number 5 on MVPs. Not saying I like her, whatever. Number 6 is Whitney Levitt from Serialized Mormon Wives. I had to go back in my notes. They produced so many seasons of Serialized Mormon Wives. They produced it like crazy because I was recapping it earlier this year. And Whitney proved to be that girl earlier this season and in the most current season. I mean, she's a real one. She's like, you know what? I want back in with the group because Dancing with the Stars is on the table. She came back in. She got Dancing with the Stars. I think she's going to be on another reality show. Whitney is that girl. She's our good protagonist. And there's an antagonist. I always mix the two up. But Whitney, she's like a Huda. Like, it's like you can't deny her. She was on Dancing with Stars. Unfortunately, she got dumped because it was airing. Serialized Mormon Wives was airing during the same time, so the people weren't liking her. But I don't dislike her. Before I did, I thought she was thirsty. This time I'm like, oh, talk your stuff. You know what I mean? You deserve it. She was on another reality show, or she's getting something else. She's on Chicago now. You cannot deny this girl's fame and the it factor. Her and Taylor Paul, I cannot think of her name. The Bachelorette, Taylor, Frankie, Paul. Both their impacts on the show has been humongous. Number 7 on my list is Kenya Moore. Kenya Moore would have been higher up if she didn't go out as bad as she went. Can't deny the first couple episodes she was on Atlanta was very impactful, but unfortunately she went out really sad by pulling something dumb. I don't know when she'll be back on Atlanta. We're at a point now where Nene Leakes is going to be back on Atlanta before Kenya Moore, which is insane because Nene Leakes literally filed a whole lawsuit against NBC Universal and racism claims comparing her treatment to Kim Zolciak's treatment. So honestly, I never would have thought that would have been that. Next up on my list, this is the only man on my list. This is Charlie from Next Gen NYC. I don't know if you guys remember Next Gen NYC. That was a good show that was out. We had Ariana Behrman. We had Gia Giudice. We had Riley Burris on there. Georgia almost made my list because I also thought she was captivating. But Charlie, I don't like Charlie, but he is an MVP of his season because the people were obsessed with him. And he went off on Georgia. I will never get that out of my head, the way he read Georgia for filth. He just wanted his DJ set, his DJ boombox or whatever, his speaker. Georgia was hopping around town, not trying to give it to him. She had other parties and she had no speakers, so she was trying to hold on to that boombox. And Charlie called her out. I think Next Gen NYC has honestly, Next Gen NYC and not even Vanderpump, Next Gen NYC and Southern Hospitality have filled kind of the void of Vanderpump for me. Therefore, I don't even need the VPR reboot. No one's talking about it. Vanderpump Villa is terrible. I don't think we need VPR anymore. I don't know why we don't just let reality shows be that. You know, America's Next Top Model ended, Jersey Shore ended, The Hills ended. The shows are supposed to end. We don't need to keep rebooting them. Roni should have ended, or give the girls a long pause. All the girls get a pause, bring them back. The reboots are not proving to work. The only reboot that's proving to work and is next on my list is Kimora Lee Simmons. And that is a person that is amazing, not on an ensemble cast. I can't even imagine her on an ensemble cast because she is so amazing. Kimora Lee Simmons snuck into my list because I've been watching Back in the Fab Lane, and that show has been amazing. It's been very wholesome, and it's a family show we need that's not the Kardashians. I don't even know who watches the Kardashians still. People watch it, I know they do, but like, I don't know. Kimora Back in the Fab Lane has been really nice, very wholesome to watch. And then number 10 on my list, I have to give somebody from Salt Lake City, because Salt Lake City is nonstop breaking. I'm going to give it to Lisa Barlow because the girls can't stop talking about Lisa Barlow. Lisa Barlow is an MVP. She carries the season well on her own, and the women hate it. They hate it. That's all I have to say about that. I go back and forth with Lisa Barlow. Sometimes I can't stand her. Other days I'm like, you know what, whatever, talk your stuff, wear your designer, whatever you want to do. Let's get into the LVPs, the least valuable players. If you were within the top 5, I really see no value for you on your reality show, your respective reality show. Number 1 is, I'm speaking of Next Gen NYC, I'm putting Ava Dash right up there. She was like a dry sponge. She wasn't even a wet sponge. She didn't absorb anything. She didn't stand out to me. If I was the Tyra Banks, infamous, what is it when she's like, we were rooting for you or whatever, I was rooting for Ava Dash, but then also the bottom 5, or you're at the bottom. Like, Ava, she was just so boring to watch. And I think she thought because her name was Ava Dash, like, I think because she thought she was a Nepo baby, and was like, dude, your whole dad like went bankrupt. But like, I think she thought because she was Ava Dash that she was like this, amazing person. It's like, you're with people that are like hustling. Yeah, like, I just think she thought she was more important than what she was. When you're on a group full of people that come from all types of different parents that have done different stuff, like, she just needed some humble pie. She was not necessary to the show for me at all. Next up that I forget about all the time is Gabby Prescott from Summer House. I don't understand how she survived that many seasons on Summer House. She's so boring. She's so boring. I think she's only survived because she has been Lindsay Hubbard's friend, and she's not even mentioned in the next season. Like, they didn't even mention her not coming back. She just floated in the background, because this last season she was floating in the background. Not necessary. Next up, I had to talk about Basketball Wives Jackie Christie, so I'm going to talk about somebody that really was not necessary. It was Brittany Renner. I could not stand that woman. That's all I have to say about that. Next up is crazy because LVP is on the LVP list. LVP, Lisa Vanderpump, was once a very loved reality star. I still think she's loved. She's still got her fans. The gays love her. I love her. But when I look at LVP and what she's done to her respective shows, I'm watching the reboot. I can't really judge her on that. But because I'm looking at reality TV in general, Vanderpump Villa is one of the most boring scripted shows I've ever watched. It's so bad, and that is why a lot of people aren't watching the Vanderpump reboot, because we've already seen Vanderpump Villa, or we've attempted to see it, so we don't even want to give the reboot a chance because we were so disappointed in the Villa. I was really excited. I really thought Stassi would have brought something this last season. I couldn't even get into it, and this was when the whole Secret Lives of Mormon Wife scandal happened. It's just so bad, so scripted. And I just like, dang, LVP, you really aren't necessary in reality TV. Go open up your boutique hotel on the Vegas Strip. She's taking over the Cromwell. I don't know if she's taking over Dre's. I really can't see her taking over Dre's. I don't know if Dre's is going to be around anymore. Dre's is like the infamous, like, Pauly D DJs there, like DJ Mustard, like, all these crazy people. I don't know what's going to happen with Dre's, because she's taking over the Cromwell, and it's like a boutique technically. So she needs to just go focus on that, and then focus on her food show with Gordon Ramsay. That was perfect. Ashley Darby is number 5 for me. I can't stand Forehead, and I'm watching this Potomac season play out, basing it on last season, just her comments regarding Wendy and just her comments in general, her behavior. I'm utterly disgusted with the fact that she has made out and potentially had sex with Sharice's son. I'm just so over Ashley Darby, and I don't understand why she is still on there. If you would have told me that her and Giselle would have been the last two standing out of the OGs, I would have laughed in your face, because I'm like, not Ashley Darby. Next up would be Heather Gay. Time and time again, I don't understand what Heather Gay is doing on my screen. I think she is supposed to be the mother of the group. She's supposed to bring the folks together, but I think she gets upset when people figure it out on their own, when the friends work it out on their own, because she realizes her purpose on the show becomes so minuscule. Like, she's not important at all. She's been looking for a moment ever since the Bermuda Triangle. And she has not found that moment. She keeps losing weight and she's not funny. I'm over her. Jax Taylor. We forget about Jax. We forget about him. But I have him close to the end because, like, you can't really forget about Jax Taylor. But he really was written out of the Valley this season. He really was. However, we saw a lot, but if anything, this season of the Valley, it functioned without Jax Taylor. Obviously, it was on the demise of his breakdowns, his mental breakdowns, his physical breakdowns, but the Valley functioned without him, and he actually got the boot from the Valley. The Valley functioned without him for a good 7-8 episodes. My question is, what is Brittany going to bring to the table now? Because Jax has now been fired. We don't want to keep hearing about this divorce, because you can't even show Jax. You can't even probably talk about him. He's been fired. He's been fired from the show because he's that toxic. Next up is Shamia Morton from Atlanta. I had high hopes for her, but she really did blend into the past, the forgotten. Her ongoing beef, her reunion performance did it for me. And then the apology after the reunion performance on YouTube did it for me. I see a thirsty girl that's always wanted to be in the limelight. And she finally got it, and this is what she did with her. Her reunion performance really did it for me and solidified, like, girl, maybe you should have stayed a friend of. Maybe we Marlo Hamptoned you too soon. Because her and Marlo Hampton had been on Housewives so long before they were upgraded. So long. Versus when I compare a Brittany Bateman on Salt Lake City, I'm like, I would watch Brittany as a housewife. Would she be annoying? Yes. But the potential's there. We thought the potential was there for Marlo and Shamia, and they have both let us down. These are friends that just should remain friends on franchises. Like, honestly, there's no point. Next up, I have Demi Engman, because that is someone that also needed to be humbled and was humbled. Least valuable player, because the show went on without you, Demi. It went on last season without you at the reunion when you didn't show up, and it went on for X amount of episodes. Though they were talking about you, it went on. And yeah, she's been a least valuable player for me, at least, along with other people, but I can't say. I'm just mean in, like, terms of people that really try to make stuff pop, and it's not popping. So finally, it would be Marisol from Real Housewives of Miami. Did we forget that Real Housewives of Miami was even on? Like, I feel like Miami this season was not that good, but Marisol is on my list because she does a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and she still doesn't have, what is it? What do they have? They don't have champagne flutes. She still doesn't have a margarita or whatever. So it's like, what was the point of that? When honestly, in reality, I feel like they should have held, like, limes or something, because that is like the margarita's garnish. Either way, she still don't have that glass in her hand, and she so desperately wants it. You do all of that. But like I said, I give her number 10 because I just don't like her. She, out of that cast, probably is not least valuable to me because she does a lot of stuff behind the scenes. But she just tried for a moment and it didn't work. Like, she tried to throw Adriana under the bus last minute and it didn't work, because you just show how much stuff you do under the table. You're double dealing, in the words of Aviva Drescher. let's move on to 12 of the best shows and movies I watched of 2025. The first one out the gate, Nobody Wants This, with Kirsten Dunst, Adam Brody, who I never knew was married to Leslie, Leighton Meester. Oh my gosh. That whole connection was crazy. Nobody Wants This season one was way better than the second season, but I watched that twice. Nobody Wants This was one of my favorite shows I watched, and I'm so glad I watched it when I did because I wanted to watch when 2 seasons were out. Really good show, very nice, giddy, and it's needed, especially with like all the anti-Semitic stuff that happens in our world. It's definitely needed in a time right now because it really educates you on a lot. It's a beautiful love story. I was obsessed. Next up, this is in no particular order besides Nobody Wants This. That was number one. One of my favorite reality shows this year was Next Gen NYC. Give me 10 spinoffs, which it looks like they're already giving me one. Next Gen LA will be happening. I'm really excited to see that cast. Some Beverly Hills folks, some Beverly Hills kids will be on their Housewives universe. Next Gen NYC was a really good show. I think it really embodied the hustle culture of New York. And, you got to get it while you can. And I like the dynamic of the group. And I'm excited for the second season. Next up is Sirens. Do you guys remember that? It was a limited series on Netflix. It is not about mermaids, but it is about high society, the upper echelon world, and that was really good. That was on Netflix's top 10 for a while, like a very long time. Next up, I think this is more so an honorable mention because if I'm being honest, this last season was not that good. But the previous seasons have been so good. All the Queen's Men on BET Plus. I definitely think you guys should watch it. It is with Eva Marcel from Real Housewives of Atlanta. I did not like her as a housewife. I love her as an actor. And All the Queen's Men, I discovered that this year and I binged it all. And then I officially caught up with the most recent season. There's 4 seasons out. The 4th season was okay. I'm hoping the 5th season's better. But the first 3 seasons was amazing. I think the 4th season, it's like, it just didn't move a lot. Like, we were stuck in the same place. And that's the stuff with Tyler Perry. Like, his timelines, we would be on the same stuff. We'll be on the same day for 3 episodes. And I'm like... what the heck? But that leads me to another Tyler Perry nomination on my list, which is Straw. Straw was on Netflix. That was also top 10 for a while on Netflix. That was with Taraji P. Henson. It was about the last straw, it was just about one of them days, like you doing all of this. And it was a sad ending, but it was a really captivating movie. Next up, another reality show. Like I said, I feel like we really got back to our roots with reality shows. I'm putting Basketball Wives on there. It was a really good last season. And I'm also putting Real Housewives of Atlanta. That is a reboot, a soft reboot that took their time. We kept Drew Sidora. We brought back Portia. Drew Sidora and Cynthia Bailey were kind of like the only people from last season that were coming in, and obviously Kenya Moore, but that didn't last long. But that was a reboot done right. That is something I'm hoping New Jersey does, because I haven't watched New Jersey in I don't know how long. A recent watch for me on Netflix was The Beast in Me. That was a really good limited series. That was trending on Netflix for a good minute as well. It's about this author that gets cozy with this serial killer, not in a romantic way because the author is a lesbian, but in a let me write your autobiography. And she actually finds out he did kill all of these people. He is this notorious killer that has never been caught because they could never find that he was guilty. But when uncovering all this stuff, she does find, oh my gosh, you did kill these people. So The Beast to me was a really good watch. Another reality show I had on there was Kimora Back in the Fab Lane. I'm still currently watching it, but I just said it was like so good and refreshing to see Kimora Lee Simmons back on my screen. And it's just so nice to see a good family show that doesn't seem fake. Like, there's some real stuff, but it's not always real. Like, it's very lighthearted. It's just really good. I'm really liking Kimora Back in the Fab Lane. It was really fun to watch. And Southern Hospitality. they had a really good season. And Southern Hospitality is an example of we didn't think it would get far. The first season was terrible. Second season, we like, okay. Third season, oh, y'all have found y'all footing. That's why I said, I don't know. Maybe we'll give VPR another chance. Southern Hospitality is a spinoff to Southern Charm. Younger, hip, hotter. Maybe we should have kept the VPR cast in a Southern Charm way, but I just don't think any of us are interested in Sheena Shea and Lala Kent, even though she's going to be on The Valley, whatever. But Southern Hospitality has found their footing. Southern Hospitality and Next Gen NYC, the first season, really knocked it out the park. Bravo so much was not expecting Next Gen NYC to knock it out the park. They were trending on Peacock for a while. It's just a good show, and I agree with Southern Hospitality. And then finally, Welcome to Derry was honestly one of the best horror series I've watched. I think it's going to be 3 seasons. It is the origin story of It the Clown and basically how this all started. It recently just went off. It was on HBO Max. That was really good. And I cannot end my 2025 recap without the huge notion and node to Sinners with Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld. She just announced her pregnancy, period. She's gorgeous. But that movie, I've watched it twice in theaters, and I've watched it once on HBO Max. I watched that movie 3 times. I probably will watch it again. It is such a good movie. I think I've watched it twice on HBO Max. When it came out on HBO Max, I was like, period. Sinners was the best movie of the year. I anticipated to win a lot for the Oscars. I anticipate it to win big next year, and I'm hoping it does. I think it's been nominated a lot. Ryan Coogler did an amazing job. But Sinners was my movie of the year. I loved it so much. And yes, that was my 2025 wrapped for the podcast. The biggest headlines, the biggest pop culture moments and phenomenons. We discussed it all. I will see you guys next year. Happy holidays and talk to you soon.